Maiguanas were recently added to Ark Survival Ascended, and this is going to be one of the most comprehensive guides you'll ever see about them, so let's get into it. Maiguanas, which are essentially a re-skinned maewing, are found on the Astraeos map for Ark Survival Ascended. Technically, they are not locked to this DLC. You can get them on other maps, but you need to use either spawn commands or a mod to be able to do that. I have a video showing you how to do that. It is pinned in a comment below. Taming a maiguana is incredibly simple. What I recommend you do is follow it around. It's a non-hostile creature. When it stops and pauses moving, grab 2 billboards, place it over the top, and there you have it, a simple maiguana trap. If you don't quite get the angle of the trap correct, sometimes there's a chance they may escape. Because of that, I tend to carry around 3 billboards with me, just adding an extra one to lock it in place. They're incredibly simple to knock out. Depending on the level, you may only need 1 or up to 6 darts from a primitive rifle to knock it out. The great thing about maiguanas is they're such a great early game tame because you can pretty much tame them with anything. Their preferred taming food is basic kibble, but you can also tame them with mutton, raw meat, prime meat, and berries as well. So incredibly easy to get when playing early game. To understand why most people are really excited about the return of this creature, it is because of the movement speed. You can see here it is a very, very rapid glider. You can traverse through most Ark maps at lightning speed, and they're the best travel mount in the game, hands down. If you are having a little bit of trouble initiating the glide, if you're running and try and jump, it does not always work. So one trick that I like to do is to disable sprint. So just go at a normal pace, jump, and then activate the sprint and you will start gliding. When you're landing from the glide, you'll notice that your maiguana is completely out of control. You'll smash through rocks, trees, you name it. If you want to stop quickly, just make sure you release the sprint key and then you'll stop really quickly. The maiguana's left click attack is a bite attack. It does a small amount of damage and it provides a little bit of knockback for smaller creatures. The secondary attack is the more powerful attack, and it's a big belly flop. You just simply click it, splat on top of the creature, and do about 3 times more its normal damage of the primary attack. One of the best things about the secondary attack is you can click it really rapidly on top of berry bushes, and it does a massive AoE kind of effect or damage on them, collecting loads and loads of berries. If you take a look here, we are just getting all of these berry bushes harvested with each belly flop. Again, you can see how many berry bushes we clear out with a single belly flop. And if we take a look at the inventory, you can see that we have hundreds and thousands of berries already. This makes maiguanas amazing early game creatures to get. You can harvest berries so much better than a parasaur, and you've got the mobility and the belly flop attack as well. The tertiary attack is really interesting. If the tertiary or C attack does nothing when used against a wild enemy creature. If you click it around your own babies, it'll actually snatch them up and put them into the little baby baskets that are in the saddle. More about those baskets later. For PvP, you actually can use the C attack to steal enemy dino babies. Now, I tried this on a tribe war on a PvE setting. I couldn't get it to work. So I'm not sure if this ability has been nerfed for Ark Survival Ascended, or if I just couldn't get it to work properly on the tribe war. So if any of you play PvP and can let me know, does that still work? It would be greatly appreciated. Another thing to note is there are 2 amazing things about the maiguana and using it in water. Fact 1, when you do the sprint landing on water, you turn out to be an amazing water skier. And fact 2 is that maiguanas are amazingly fast swimmers. You can see here that we are easily outpacing this shark amazingly. You are really fast in the water, one of the fastest underwater mounts as well as out of the water mounts. Back when we had maewings, I actually used them to tame the giant squids, the tusos. I think they're great underwater because they are so fast. They also do not have an oxygen stat, so they can stay underwater forever. You do need to watch your stamina when swimming though. Once you have tamed up your maiguanas and you want to breed them, the one thing you may notice here is that they actually don't have a gender. If we take a look here, they do not have any female or male characteristics. They don't have a gender. So what you can do to breed is just put 2 close together and then go in and enable mating on both of them, and then they will start breeding together. This is actually amazing amazing for stat breeding and getting mutations because you don't have to worry about getting set stats in males or females in order to breed them back in. The extra cool thing about them not having a gender and breeding together is that both of them will lay eggs. So every time your creatures mate, you will get 2 eggs. What you'll notice here in the footage is that that is a regular quality class egg and the other is a simple quality class egg. And that means just like the maewings, the maewguanas can lay different types of quality eggs. So if we go in and look at our oviraptor now and type in MAE, you can see that we have a bunch of different quality eggs. We've got basic eggs, exceptional eggs, regular eggs, as well as simple and superior. This means that, again, maewguanas are great early game tames because you can use them to set up a kibble farm and get yourself some really high-end kibble before you've tamed any other creatures. I wanted to test what kind of kibble you would get if you ground them up in the grinder, if that is random or known. So let's grind up these two. And we got 11 basic kibble out of those. With that, again, I'm not sure if that's going to be randomized or not. I didn't have a big enough sample with the testing of only 2 of them. One of the best things about the maewguanas is that you can use them as a baby dino feeding trough. Typically when raising a baby creature, you need to make sure there is meat always in its inventory, but the issue is it takes a small amount of meat at a time, so you have to stand around hand feeding it over and over. What is amazing about the maewguana is that you can put the meat into the maewguana's inventory and then hold down the radial menu here and enable baby nursing, turning it into a feeding trough. You'll see some delightful milk start to come out its hidden wing nipples here. If we look at our baby Kacha, you'll see that it has a little feeding trough symbol on it, meaning that it's being fed by the maewguana, as well as a white dummy or pacifier symbol. You can also hold down the radial menu on the maewguana and then enable show range, and that will let you know if the creatures are being fed by the maewguana, if they're within the green circle that you can see. So you can see here that 2 of the meat have gone, so that the meat is being removed from the maewguana as a trough and going into the baby Kacha. You can see that the Kacha baby's food stat went up. You need to ensure that you have the correct food for that baby creature in your maewguana's inventory. For example, for baby wyverns, you'll want wyvern milk. For herbivores, you'll need berries. You can also use the maewguanas to feed underwater babies. So here we've got a baby frog. You want to have your maewguana parked right near the water, like we do have here. You can go up here and you can hit enable baby nursing feeding trough. You can't pick them up in the baskets because of course they will die out of the water. But as long as you park your maewguana near the aquatic baby, it should be able to feed from the inventory. So we can check that here. We can watch the food stat here. It's 871. Another good tip to make sure that it is being fed is to turn on the radius. You can see that the baby frog is in the radius here. The food has gone up to 1200, now 1300. So as long as it's in the radius, then it will be fed by the maewguana. Once the baby has reached juvenile stage, it's going to start looking for food that's either in its own inventory or in a feeding trough. So what you want to make sure is nearby to your maewguana, you have a trough that is stacked full of the preferred foods. Otherwise, it may live through the baby stage and be fed, but then hit adolescence and then starve to death. The devs have indicated that although the nursing effectiveness stat is not available, it will be transported to the food stat that is in the maewguanas. The higher the food, effectively, the better they are at nursing. If you increase the nursing effectiveness, it will increase the amount that the food stat in the baby goes up per each piece of meat that they eat, for example. You can also disable nursing by holding down the radio menu here and disable nursing if you don't have any baby creatures available. The maewguana saddle is made in the smithy. When the maewguana has a saddle, you can also pick up babies with little baskets. Now the maewing had visible baskets you could easily see, but you don't see it on the maewguana. There are 2 ways in which you can get babies into baskets. The first I've already mentioned, where you mount the maewguana Use the tertiary attack and they'll pop into the baskets. The saddle only has 4 basket slots for babies. You can also do it through the radial menu. You'll see a raptor with an arrow that says pick up baby. You click on that and it shows you the 2 options in the area. We'll pick up this one. And then we'll pick up the next one. Make sure you have the baby's preferred food in the inventory of the MAEGUANA. And even though we don't have baby trough turned on, you'll see that when the babies are in the basket, they are being fed by the MAEGUANA. So if we check the stats of the little babies in the baskets, make sure that their food is going up. You can see that it fed there. The food went from around 700 up to 1200. You don't even need to have the baby feeding trough enabled. As long as the baby's in the basket, they will feed from the inventory of the MAEGUANA. The cool thing about this is you can take your babies on the road. They stay in the baskets. So you can carry about your regular ARK activities while raising baby creatures as well. If you hit the tertiary attack again, the babies do not eject from the baskets. You need to do that manually. You can hold down the radial menu to remove passengers, and it will show you all of the ones that are in there. So we can remove Snow Owl 1, remove the next Snow Owl. Also on the radial menu, you'll notice an exclamation point that says drop babies. If you hit that, all of the babies will come out of the baskets. If you have 4 in there, they will all come out. Once you eject them from the basket, they will be the size that they're at. So this one is an adolescent. If we put it back in the basket, it will shrink back down. If a creature reaches full maturity while in the basket, it will pop out and be ejected by the saddle. And you can see here, it is a full-grown adult snow owl. My name is Krabby. I make accurate, concise guides for Ark Survival Ascended. If that's your kind of thing, you can click on this one here to watch another or subscribe for more.